Okay, so I'm going to disconnect now. When you're done, please share with me the presentation and the recording so I start with the benefits. Okay,
Yeah, sure, I will.
thank you, thank you. So, bye bye. See you later.
Bye. See you later. Hey everyone. We will wait a little bit for some people to join us. Maybe a few minutes and then we start. I guess it's the Easter week and some of participants are away, so let's wait a few minutes and then we go on. Sasha, hi. We're just waiting one more minute and then see if anyone else joins, then we continue.
Hi, I just laid down because I came home from work, so I'll close my camera.
Sure. I'll
Hi.
have this slow, deep voice so you can fall asleep.
I might. Okay. We are five, I see.
Yeah, but it's only Tuesday. I mean, you know.
Yeah, but it's a week before short holidays, so it influences. How many we are supposed to be all together?
No, there are 30 of participants included, but we expected that in this Easter week, which maybe not in Slovenia, but in other countries, it's quite a bigger thing than in Slovenia, that there will be less people.
Okay, elite.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'd suggest we start. Hi, everyone. I will share the screen. And just let me know if you see my screen.
Yes.
Good. So today we are going to talk about the business models in cultural tourism. And here we want to focus on new or innovative business models. So on different approaches to business modeling your enterprises. And before we continue, I would like to basically open up the question. We are quite a small group, but I think it's better than even better for discussion. Is what is your business model? I mean, what is the business model of your idea, of your enterprise? Do you know what is your business model? Or do you even know what a business model is? David.
Yeah, I just wanted to say maybe something I can basically share with you people some kind of a PDF or link to basically some kind of a cards where these business models are described, because you know, sometimes really hard to understand which you know, through the name, from the name, basically which business model is. I'll paste this basically in the LinkedIn. I got this years ago. It's very, very informative. That's all I wanted to say. In terms of our business model, yeah, what we are thinking right now is based on our session last time, is basically this revenue sharing innovation model, something like that. But actually in the past we were playing around with subscription model, but yeah, it's not really straightforward. Especially it's really hard to basically set something, especially if you don't have a lot of feedback from the market.
Yeah. So today I didn't want to focus on explaining the different business models. There's other courses on that. If you feel that you need to understand what the business models are and the differences between them, we can actually, as David also offered, we can provide these resources to understand better the business modeling. Today I wanted to talk about some interesting cases from the tourism sector, and maybe just have it as a discussion to talk about. I have 10 different examples, and on these examples discuss why they did something differently than, let's say, a normal tourism enterprise would do. But maybe Maile, how do you pronounce your name? Maile?
Yes, it's Maile.
Maile. Okay. Can you share with us what is the business model of your team, of your idea?
Yeah, I was going through all that, and it's true that I see my business model as this document, and I never really thought of like what these two words could be, how it could be described. And so
But can you maybe,
when I see as a service model, so it's like providing either it's kind of two sides of it, like tours, workshops, and like exploration games in the city. So maybe like the fee for service, not sure.
Yeah.
There is also like this also a service of like can create like educational games from different spaces, territories, municipalities.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I assume that like this fee for service or pay for service models, this is like a kind of classical one in tourism. I mean, most of tourism offer our services. And in a way, I wanted to challenge that, just to show that there are other possibilities, or that you can complement this classical model of fee for service, pay for service with another element, or maybe just think that there are other elements to it as well. Stasha, if you're still here, what is your business model?
Yeah, I would say fee for service.
Yeah.
And learning by doing model.
Yeah. Okay, maybe Dimitra, do you want to share with us what is the business model of your idea?
Yes, hello. I would say that it's a corporate social responsibility model.
Okay.
Since we are a social cooperative enterprise.
Yeah. So basically, in your case, who provides the financing? Some companies or like donors?
There is mostly European programs like some either Horizon or some private Erasmus.
Okay. Yeah. Who do we have? Inma, if you're
Hello.
here.
Yes,
Hi.
hello. I don't know yet. I am very interested to learn about all this model, but I don't know. Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I have the same slide at the end of the presentation, and maybe we can return back to it, and maybe then you can share if you have any thoughts, or otherwise we wait. And then we have Arboreologia. Are you here? Can you share with us what is your business model? No. Okay. Doesn't matter. We continue. So yeah, I didn't want to go through each of them because you have, as David mentioned, there are really nice graphics that explain the differences between them, and the examples of each of them, and so on. Today, basically, I just want to go through some examples of it. But before we go to examples, just to say that a business model is, in a simple way, it's a way how your business gets money for its value. So every business or every organization is creating some sort of value. This is the value proposition. So this is what you are offering to them. So what is the value that you're giving? And the important element is, how do you get funding for that? So the classical model is fee for service, or fee for product, or pay for product, or pay for service, is that people get a service from you and they pay you in return. So this is the classical model of, for example, in a hotel, they get a service of accommodation, and they pay for the accommodation. This is the classical model. And what is here important is that the whole organization of the enterprise is structured in a way that it makes that possible, so that this delivery is possible. But as already mentioned earlier, there are also other ways of getting the funding for the value. For example, it doesn't have to be, we could rethink who is paying. Maybe it's not the user who is paying. As we mentioned earlier in the corporate social responsibility programs, it is the one who is paying is not the one who is using the service or the product. So, for example, the donor or a corporate company who provides funding, sponsorships, they provide funding, they provide money, but the value is not given only to them, but to the user. For example, in NGOs or in any humanitarian organization, the users are not paying for the service. It is someone else who is paying. And as maybe David mentioned earlier, for example, this payment doesn't have to be in one-time event. So it could be stretched throughout the longer period. So this could be, for example, what happens in a subscription model. So people pay for people pay a little little fee every month to get access to a service. So, for example, this would be many of the apps that are out there where you pay for subscription, or like the online. I'll give an example of online hosting fee. You pay every month a fee or every year a fee, but you're using the service throughout the whole time. And these are these different elements that are in that field. And yes, with technology, many things have changed, because technology basically enabled us to create many new different business models that were unthinkable before. For example, the subscription model has been popularized with the internet, with the technology, where that is possible. Also, the globalization, where the market is becoming bigger and bigger. Of course, demand of these new business models, where the exchange should not only happen in physical space where we meet, but it's a global phenomenon. So yeah, just a few more. I have a few more slides where important people are saying how this is very important to think about, but I won't bore you with that. The main element here that I want to, as I already mentioned, is that the classical tourism service could be supplemented or complemented with additional offering that has a different business model as well. And I think here is what today I want you to rethink. Is it possible to go away from the classical model in different directions with different elements? And I would want to start with a research which was about the free wine tasting. So the main dilemma here was, so this happened across quite a lot of visitors that were visiting wineries. And the main dilemma was, should the winery offer free wine tasting, paid wine tasting, or offer it for a small price? And of course, what is better? And the research found out that basically the best is to offer the wine tasting so no, the result. Yeah, so that the people who get free, the wineries who offered a small fee for wine tasting. No, wait, now I mixed myself. So 3 companies offered a small fee for tasting, and other offered a complimentary wine tasting. So, and it was the one who offered complimentary wine tasting proved to be better. So people who got free wine tasting spent more money after all at the end. So the idea is that it's better to offer free wine tasting than paid wine tasting. Why? Because if you offer free wine tasting, people at the end spend more because they feel that they need to make a purchase at the end. It's like they feel like this moral obligation to make a purchase, and they value the service more because they think that it is free, so that it is that they got more for it in a way. And this basically goes back to the whole idea of the free lunch. I don't know if it's if you know this concept of a free lunch and the saying that there is no free lunch, which was popularized especially in neoliberal economics with Milton Friedman, saying that that there is no such thing as free lunch, so that even if you get free lunch, it's not really free. Someone else had to pay for it, and this is a rephrase of a phenomenon that was happening in the early 20th century, where in America many restaurants were offering free lunch. Many bars were offering free lunch if you bought a drink. So if you bought a drink, you got a free lunch. And this was in a way was their business model. They were it was what we today know as freemium. So they offered you something for free, but then you spent money on something else. So this is a similar thing here in the free wine tasting example. And now if we try to go through different use cases, maybe we try to think of how to alter this classical model. We pay, the customers pay for the service we provide, or the customers pay for the product that we provide. And I would want you to comment in between, because there are quite a few examples and I don't want to just go through them, but also hear your comments or your opinions. So the first use case is the Magdas Hotel in Vienna, in Austria. So they are the social business hotel, meaning that they offer jobs for refugees. And of course, we can see this only also as in terms of social responsibility, or in the sense of their humanitarian like a gesture, but it also impacts their business model, because the structure of their cost, the offer, the value that they're creating is not just in providing accommodation, but is also in providing jobs for the refugees there. Another, or if anyone has a comment here, maybe. No. Another use case is, and it is similar to the previous one, is the Stay Hotel in Poland. So this chain of hotels, this hotel, it's not a chain, sorry, it's a hotel, is a social enterprise, and basically it offers jobs to children or young people who grew up in care homes, and it also offers them some sort of education and vocational training. So this business, this hotel, is earning money by, and on one hand, offering accommodation, and on the other hand, by offering education to the people, to the young people who grew up in care homes. So they have, in a way, two business models. One is the classical pay for service, and the second one is a more social dimension. It has a more social dimension. So they are getting funding from the state to organize the vocational trainings, to organize education, and to basically provide opportunities for the young people in care homes. And this is how this model is also similar to the previous one, where the state is basically giving some sort of funding to pay for a service that they're creating. And why I'm mentioning these two cases is because specifically we're here talking about not just about tourism in general, but we want to stress the sustainable cultural tourism, where the social element is very important, and we're thinking, how to involve that social element into the business, and of course into the business model as well. Any comments here? We go on. The third one is the Infinity from Slovenia. I'm not really sure if this is a different business model or is just a very good marketing approach. But the way I see it is, Infinity from Slovenia, they offer mindfulness tourism experiences that incorporate also discovering local traditions, spending some quality time at the location. So they have expanded their classical wine tastings, local tour guides. They have expanded it into mindfulness experience. So, as I said, maybe this is just a very good marketing of what they do, and the model is still pay for service. But I also believe that they figure it out how to offer something different to the market. The fourth use case that we're having here is the Urbanauts, again from Vienna. So what Urbanauts do is they run accommodations, and you would think, okay, nothing special, but these accommodations are not placed in a classical accommodation building, but they are refurbished empty stores. So these small stores that exist basically in every town, that it's just impossible to find a new tenant because the shops have moved to the outskirts, to the bigger areas. So they occupy these small spaces, these small rooms, which are usually on the ground floor, and they run it as small apartments. Their business model here is that these rooms are not owned by them. The owner remains. So the owner is the old owner of the shop who cannot run a shop anymore, who cannot find a tenant anymore. So they offer business-to-business services to them. So on one hand, they help the owner of such space, of the empty store. They help them renovate their empty store into a accommodation unit. They help them market it. They help them with structuring the investment, and it is the owner who invests in such a accommodation unit. On the other hand, they promote these different accommodations as their own. So on the side from the tourists, they have a sort of unified portfolio. If you don't know that there are different owners in the background, so where I see that this model is innovative is that, of course, they have the classical pay for service model, but on the other hand, they also manage to find a way how it is the other people, so the owners of such spaces, investing in properties, and them, of course, renting it out. So it's a sort of a platform model, but very physical, with very physical elements. And so here I had 4 examples of these physical innovative use cases. Does any of you have any other very interesting example that you would think of?
Maybe I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me now? I'm already a taxi driver. It's that time of the day. Well, we do have a gallery, art gallery, which is open for free, but there is a box with how do you say, um,
Donations or
donations? Yeah, donation box, and sometimes I also sell honey inside, and yeah, I can say that. I don't know. I never made the statistics how much visitors I would have anyway, but sometimes the donations are nice for the ice cream. Not too much because we are in a really remote place, but it's kind of, as I understand, this that you presented already.
Okay, thank you, Stasha. This basically reminded me of some restaurants who are having the pay as you want model. So the food is basically for free, and it's not for free. You decide how much you pay. And statistically, of course, people pay more than they would if there would be a price list. Again, this is I've noticed these restaurants in Vienna. They're quite popular, and they all run on this model. So they offer daily lunch, and you decide how much it costs. And from my own experience, I know that I'm always giving more than I would if there would be a price list.
Yeah, that reminds me, it's on the mountain Mataiur, which is a mountain between Slovenia and Italy. It's also there is association of people who are mountaineering, running the restaurant, and it's the same approach. Yeah, you come, you order, and then you pay it as much as you feel. And the same, yeah, we paid probably more than, and they also avoid taxes in this way, I understand.
Yeah, which is not good, and we should not promote, but yeah. Anyone else with an interesting example that you know from the tourism sector? Okay, we continue with maybe more digital elements. So it's not easy to find these examples, and especially not in the physical world. In the digital, it's maybe a bit easier. Another example, which might not, of course, apply to many of you, but to some it might, is the whole concept of the metaverse, the whole concept of the digital world as a parallel virtual world where also transactions are happening. We've seen how it was maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when this metaverse thing started growing, how many business models have been have started being established in there. So I don't know to what extent you know how a metaverse functions. Anyone knows how a metaverse functions? No. Basically, a metaverse is a parallel virtual world. You create your account, you enter the account, you enter the metaverse, and inside of the metaverse, you have basically it looks very similar to a game, to a first-person game. Just that it's not a game. It's there's no levels. There's no quests. Yeah, it's just a world where people go inside and do their thing. So you could have virtual concerts, and people to enter these concerts, they pay for attending the concerts. They pay with digital currency, which is, of course, has a correlation with the real currency. Or inside of the metaverse, you could sell digital assets. So, for example, many of the fashion industry brands, these big brands, have entered the metaverse to sell and to promote their clothes inside. And inside, you could buy a digital asset, a digital version of a clothing that you like. And of course, you have a character, you have an avatar inside of this metaverse, and you can dress up in that clothing. And basically, the whole world that we know outside, that we know in real life, is replicated inside of the metaverse. So when it comes to tourism, and especially cultural tourism, also cultural experiences are part of this metaverse. So the tour guides are offered within a metaverse. It's virtual tour guides using VR glasses, and people are paying for that in the currency of the metaverse. In the last year, the whole metaverse is maybe a bit in the decline, especially because the focus of investors has shifted towards artificial intelligence, and not so much investment goes into metaverse. But still, metaverse remains, and probably it will be transformed to be part of it already, as the name suggests. It is becoming part of, for example, the Facebook applications and their tools that are being launched as a side products of Facebook platform, and so on. So, as I said, this very virtual world is not applicable to many of you, but to some degree, many of the things, if you are creating digital assets and digital elements, you could be selling them in this virtual world as well. Maybe an element that is an example that is happening at the edge between digital and physical is the 3D in Ukraine, 3D Ukraine in your pocket, which is basically an app, a mobile app that has also physical cards. And you get in one package, you get several of the cards. Each of the cards offers you a digital experience in augmented reality. So the business model here is very much connected. You could say it's a classical pay for service model, but of course it's very much connected to the social dimension, the cultural dimension of the war in Ukraine, of people helping digitization of cultural heritage in Ukraine. So one such package costs, I believe it's a bit more than 25 euros or dollars, which of course is more than you would ever pay for an app. But because it's linked to their whole business of digitizing cultural heritage of Ukraine, which is under attack, they have also this social element where basically the earnings of this endeavor are then channeled into digitally protecting cultural heritage in Ukraine. Another example is a space play. So basically what they do is they offer 3D models, printed 3D models of cultural heritage. And this, and especially the buildings that are about to be demolished or that are seen as ugly or somehow that have a negative, that people have a negative attitude towards it. And here again, so so they're offering also these classical guided tours, but they're also offering the 3D printed models to be as an addition to it, as a way to support their endeavor. Here I have another example of metaverse. So this is an event in metaverse. It's a cultural event, which is also the birthday of Confucius, which is happening in metaverse. People have to pay to enter it, and it's a different way of organizing a festival, for example. Here. And another example in the digital world is the NFTs. So NFTs are a sort of so NFT is a short for non-fungible token, which is a blockchain-based proof of stake, meaning that for a digital asset, meaning that in that case, for example, a family was selling digital copies of their cultural heritage by selling the NFTs of these of that cultural heritage, and they got the funding to renovate and to preserve that cultural heritage through this digital through the sale of that digital asset. And there are some other different similar examples, all of them basically being on this type of collecting NFTs, and the money funneled into the NFTs. And yes, there were also examples where they managed to, through the sale of these digital assets, they managed to earn money to renovate, for example, their cultural heritage buildings. And maybe another use case is the Fairbnb. You all know probably Airbnb, which is the largest platform, or one of the largest platforms for sharing accommodation, for booking accommodation, actually. What is the difference between Airbnb and Fairbnb is that Fairbnb support community projects with the commission that they're taking from the every sale, every transaction that happens on the platform. So basically, again, here they are creating a new value in their model, and through that they support additional projects. But this also helps the hosts. So the hosts who are developing these community projects and are also, so at the same time, developing community projects and offering accommodation. And these are the 10 use cases that I wanted to put in front of you. But more and more, I wanted, as I said at the beginning, to open up a discussion with you where you see different potentials for business models, or how to expand the business models that you're having, or further develop it. Any?
Hi, Mateus. Sorry that I don't have a webcam today.
No worries.
Like the other times. I see that the Ukraine business model that related to the City Pocket that you presented, it's quite interesting, because what they sell is like the typical concept of a 3D model postcard, maybe. I don't know exactly what is the kind of product, but what we are trying to develop is something similar, but related it's like a mix from the 6 and 7 case studies, because in the 7, sorry, the 8 related to NFTs. Which one?
Okay,
This one.
Yeah.
We're trying to create something with, like a mix between 6 and 9. Okay, but we are not working with NFTs. We are working with the next evolution, that is the RFT. In which we consider that we can create a way that makes people be able to collect all the RFTs of the heritage, considering that a tourist can buy like a digital participation in the whole value of the heritage. Okay, and that makes people become like antiquaries. I mean, they collect the heritage as if it was their own, but at the same time they help to preserve the local monuments. It's much similar as proposal number 9, but we extend it to any tourist. I mean, collect the heritage as a means of gamification of monument collecting. Okay, it's quite similar. It's very interesting. Thank you for presenting these proposals, because it's very interesting.
So in your case, the sale happens once, or how?
No, the sale happens the number of times you divide the value, the whole value of the whole digital value of heritage. For example, RFTs are like parts of the monument. Okay, I mean, we can reissue the NFT through the concept of RFT. So we can arrive to issue like 1,000 parts of the monument a year. And that parts of the monument are going to have a different value depending on the part of the monument you are selling. It's not the same thing to sell, for example, the head of the sculpture than to sell the feet. So we established like a gamification, being able to determine which are the total value of the heritage. I mean, the capacity of generating resources is much bigger than the case study number 9, because we are not limited to one copy. We are trying to create something that makes the tourist become a tool to be able to maximize the preservation of the heritage through resource generation, through digital souvenir selling. I mean, it's similar, but our idea is much more difficult to apply, because we are trying to find which is the way through technology to be able to do that. But we have the idea, we're studying the concept, and right now the projects we presented are quite interesting for us to be able. We are also not wanting to use the app concept, that you have to download an application to use in your mobile, because many of public managers say to us, we don't want applications. We don't want any applications for you to install. So we are working through the web app platform concept. So,
and here you mentioned the municipality and the authorities. So are they contributing funding to the project as well?
Yeah, the city council helps us with the digitalization of heritage to generate digital twins for preventive conservation. Okay, but our first product is a repository, like a public repository of digital backups of public heritage. Okay, those same digital twins are used as RFTs for tourism.
I understand. So you have like a two-sided business model. On one side, you're
B2G and B2C. But we try to create the C2G model, because part of the money they invest, they gave it back through tourism and citizenship. And the strategy is based in place branding strategies. Okay. So it comes. Our name is A Place Heritage, which is the digital place of heritage. Okay.
That's
it's quite a mix.
Yeah.
It's quite a mix between 6 and 9. And we have already done that. We have already financed monuments restoration through this strategy.
Thank you. Thank you. Very interesting. David, you were before mentioning that you're shifting business models from pay for service to, was it the innovation revenue sharing or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, when we started, we basically heavily actually related to the things that we knew, and this is basically from the, you know, we have a quite strong competencies in digital, from digital world. So basically we were, you know, leaning more towards this kind of a stuff. But what we found out is that basically, you know, that it's a different space, so it's not basically super translatable. So that's why we are thinking about these particular things, and especially basically how to, not just how to do things at once, but how to actually make a build basically some kind of a sustainable basically revenue and eventually, right? So yeah, that's why we are mixing things around, still not super decided that about it, but you know, this innovative use cases that you presented, very good. I mean, this Ukraine, I didn't know majority of them. So so yeah, very, very interesting. And I think here is the catch, right? If you're able to basically glue this stuff together the right way, that's where that's the actually key to sustainability in terms of business and actually the whole venture, right? So yeah.
For me, the main challenge in all of the cases is to what degree this is only a marketing campaign, and to what degree this is actually a different business model. So this was my main concern. It was also, I have to admit, hard for me to select the cases, because it's just, of course, we can always talk that how Booking.com is a different business model and how Airbnb has a different business model. But to be honest, this does not really apply to many of you. Just because you are not tech platforms that could also invest so much into developing the whole business model in that way, and to some degree these business models are depending on the monopoly on the market, or having a very, very large share on the market. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, that's a very good statement. That's a very good statement, right? This marketing business model versus marketing basically campaign. Yeah, I mean, what I'm basically spending a lot of time thinking is, you know, how to make this stuff recurring, right? How can you set up something that you can do multiple times, right? Not just one time.
Yeah.
Because one time then you're pretty close to marketing campaign, right? You can sell.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Then it's just a campaign, and you did an innovative thing to stand out, but it's not really reoccurring. Yeah.
Right.
Mateus, I think your appreciation about monopoly is the main issue here, because when you try to innovate and you start trying to create a new market, it always becomes initially a monopoly, maybe, but that it depends on the open source strategies you use, on how you can integrate with existing platforms in the cities. I mean, there is many different platforms to manage heritage in the cities. So how to adapt to that, I think, is the most important thing. Flexibility and open source development strategies, I think, is the best solution for that. To not be able to not finish in a monopoly, maybe. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? Any comment? I will now jump again to I'll jump some slides here, but basically go to that. And here's a mistake: future, not few. Any comment or any idea how change your business models? Yeah.
I want I'm processing all this and trying to how can I say always in my mind that one part of the business would be a social business model, a more like one part of the profit always goes back to community projects or anything like that. and realizing that was not financially possible while starting the company. It's not even 1 year ago, it's like 9 months ago. Thinking, okay, let's do it like that and see how it works, and then in the future adapt the business model when it's working well to make it with like this part of the profit going somewhere else, or doing some extra community projects, something with free time. And so now I'm just processing it and wondering, like, if you don't change your business model, but you diversify, like, I mean, changing it to, does it change the identity of your business? Does it change the way totally that you have in a way to promote your something that is not just something that is a whole reconstruction of how you talk about your business and all of the time? Sometimes it's not just tweaking, but it's like remodeling everything.
Yeah. I mean, anyway, the business model is the essence of your organization.
Yeah.
And if you're changing the business model, you are changing the organization. Because as I said at the very beginning, the business model is about how you deliver value in exchange for funding, or in exchange for resources. And of course, the easiest way is to be this very classical market approach. I give you something, you give me money back. But as you said, if you want to add the social elements, then I also think that the promotion needs to change, because you're promoting your service or your organization or your products to two different stakeholders. On the one hand, the people who are using it, and on the other hand, the people who are funding it. So yes, I think it's I'd say that it's not just about tweaking, it's changing quite the fundamentals of the whole thing, of the organization, how you're doing it. Although it seems that you're just changing here from bullet point 2 to bullet point 4, but it's a big thing, in my opinion. Any other comment? Dimitra, maybe.
Something to add, but I think all what you mentioned are really interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it's, I mean, if any of you find out any very super interesting model or any example, that would be good. I had trouble finding them, to be honest, because many of them are, of course, in the digital world, and the tourism world is not digital world. It's very much physical still. Yeah, it's if you find anything interesting, let's share it with each other in the LinkedIn group, or just send it to me directly, and I can we can have a discussion about it. So yeah. And for those of you who don't know what the business models are and the differences between them, I really advise you to take a look at there are very nice presentations online explaining what are the differences between them, examples of each of them. But it's true, most of these examples are not from the tourism sector. They're from the very different sectors. So it's often hard to compare it to the tourism sector. So yeah. Any more comment? Carlos, I saw that you just joined us, but we are actually finishing. Carlos is not here. Okay. So I suggest that we, of course, keep in contact. If you think that the talking with me or talking with any of the mentors from the partnership could help you clarify something, or maybe expand something, or if you just want to talk about one use case and go deeper into it, send us an email. and we can schedule a call to see how we can be of help actually.
I will schedule with you, Mateos,
Good.
next week maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to see for your schedule.
Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Send me an email, Adolfo.
Okay, I will send it.
Yeah. Okay. I guess that's it for today. I hope it was a little thought for a food for thought. It was for me for sure because I'm not used to such presentations of these topics. Yeah, see you next time and have a nice afternoon.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.
Yes.